Adding a new participant. Before we show you how to add a new participant, let's take a moment to understand households and participants. Every participant has a household, even if that household doesn't have any information entered, such as parent name, address, or phone number. Income forms are associated with a household and apply to all members of that household. Enrollment forms are associated with participants and apply only to an individual child or adult daycare client. To add a new participant, click on Participants and Rosters on the main dashboard. On the Participants and Rosters page, you will see two buttons. The first button is Add to Existing Household. You can use this button if your new participant has a family member already enrolled. If you are a child care, this may be a new infant being added to an existing household account. If you are an adult care, this may be a participant whose spouse is also enrolled with your adult daycare. When you click on the Add to Existing Household button, you will see a list of households. Select the one for the newly enrolled participant and then click Add Participant to go to the participant screen. The second button that you see depends on the settings that your sponsor has selected. If your sponsor requires that household contact information be added in My Food program, you will see a button that says Add New Household. When you click on this button, you will need to add a parent/guardian name, address, and phone number before adding a participant to the household. If your sponsor does not require household contact information to be added in My Food program, you will see a button that says Add Participant. When you click on this button, you will go straight to the participant info screen and My Food program will automatically create a blank household. On the participant screen, you will see many fields. Let's go through them one by one. First name and last name are always required. The middle name is optional. Birth date is also always required so that My Food program can ensure accurate portion sizes and license capacity checks and identify duplicate participants. You may see a birth date estimated box. This checkbox should be used if you are adding a participant and you have not verified their exact date of birth. Avoid this situation whenever possible, as incorrect birth dates can create problems with claims processing. Depending on the license definitions in your state, you may see a box that says Include in School Age Licensed Capacity. If checked, it will count this participant toward the school age licensed capacity rather than the preschool licensed capacity. The next field is gender. This is an optional field. There is an allergies text box next. This text box is linked to mobile app alerts about allergies. Next is the roster assignment. This may be a required field depending on your sponsor setting. Select the roster or classroom that the participant is in. Remember that participants can be assigned to more than one roster if needed. Racial identity and ethnicity may be required depending on sponsor settings. Note that multiple racial identities can be selected and both racial identity and ethnicity have an option of unknown. If your sponsor has turned on the invoice tracking feature in My Food program, you will see 3 boxes associated with the rates that you charge for caring for children. You will see the rate type, rate, and school date rate. Enter those if you are using My Food program to track invoices sent to parents for the care you provide. Next are a series of checkboxes. Provider's child or residential child is only for family child care homes. Receive subsidized care is to track children or adults with tuition that is paid by state or federal subsidy. The foster child flag will place a child in the free or Tier I income categories if checked. This box can only be edited by sponsors. The box for special needs allowed to claim over age 13 is also only able to be edited by sponsors. The next checkbox is related, non-residential. This applies only to family child care homes. The final checkbox is exclude from license capacity checks and may only be edited by the sponsor. Finally, there is a text box for you to use to write notes about the participant as well as a group ID and participant ID. You may leave the ID fields blank and My Food program will auto-populate them for you. The next part of the participant screen is participant status. When you add a new participant, the status will either be pending or active, depending on your sponsor settings. The start date will default to the current date. If the participant started before today, adjust the start date. Next is participant programs. When you add a new participant, the participant program will be auto-selected based on your site type. Adjust the program if needed. The participant schedule may be required by your sponsor. If so, click Edit Schedule and enter the typical days, hours, and meals for the participant. Only sponsors can add, delete, or edit enrollment forms. If you are a site-level user, you can see enrollment form dates added by your sponsor. When enrolling a new participant, you may disregard this section. The next section is specific to infants and is therefore hidden for adult daycare programs. An infant meal notification is documentation of whether the parents of an infant are going to supply their own iron-fortified infant formula or breast milk and solid foods, or accept those offered by the center or child care home. If you are enrolling a new infant, you should add an infant meal notification. If you are not enrolling an infant, you can disregard this section. USDA regulations require that infants that are developmentally ready for solid foods are offered those at each meal and snack. This section allows you to indicate the date on which an infant was developmentally ready for solid foods. The default date is set by your sponsor. You may be able to edit these dates if your sponsor allows you to. If you are enrolling an infant who is already developmentally ready for solid foods, you should ensure the accuracy of the dates. If you are enrolling an infant who is not developmentally ready for solid foods, you should leave the default dates as a reminder. If you are not enrolling an infant, you can disregard this section. The Special Diet section allows you to indicate that a participant has a special dietary need. If you are enrolling a new participant with special dietary needs, you should complete this section. If you are not enrolling a participant with special dietary needs, you can disregard this section. You must click Save in order to save a participant. After save, you will be returned to the household page. If any required fields are missing, you will get an error message. You may also get an error message if you are trying to create a duplicate participant. My Food program will prevent the creation of a participant with the same first name, last name, and date of birth of an existing participant, but just one typo and a duplicate child could be created.